Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Let's just see here. Turn down this volume. Hope everybody is doing well on this Monday. It's been a little bit since I went live. I was traveling, and last week was 4th of July, and I live right near the fireworks, so it wasn't really the best time to go live with fireworks all around. I'm looking for some lights. There we go. But hope everybody had a great 4th of July if you celebrate the holiday, and hope everybody is having a great summer so far. Let me just do a little turn up here. See if that works a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so thank you everybody who is live joining me today. And if you are watching the replay, thank you for stopping by. My name is Mike Murphy. You probably know that from the channel, but I go live every Monday night in theory at 9 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I thank you for... I've got a happy Tuesday here from Amir. You must be in the future. Hello there. And yeah, so if you are joining live, definitely thank you for stopping by. If you haven't been to one of these before, basically I do these on Monday nights, and the whole point is really to, it's for content creators. It's for me to be available to answer any questions that you might have, or each week I try to do some type of walkthrough or tutorial on a topic, you know, and content that I make on my channel involving Adobe After Effects, Screenflow, Audition, maybe Photoshop, pretty much anything that I think is going to be either relevant to, you know, something current, like a trend or something that's current in the content creation world, or just something that I think is going to be helpful to explain and to provide kind of a one-on-one walkthrough, where you can ask me questions if you're here live, or if you are watching the replay, you can always leave a comment about something, and you know, I'd be happy to you know, kind of clarify or go over or answer any questions that, you know, maybe you're working on a project and you're stuck and you need a little bit of help, you know, getting through a piece of project. So hi Valerie, nice to see you. I have been traveling as well. So I took off a couple weeks where I was gone, and I didn't have the ability to live stream from where I was. And then last week I was going to go live, and it was 4th of July, and I live right near the fireworks. So I just basically said that would be kind of a foolish thing and be loud. So thank you for joining though, Valerie. Thank you, Amir. Thank you anybody else who's joining again, or if you're watching the replay, thank you all. So yeah, so this Monday nights, again, it's really for me to be available to you. I want these not to be about me just teaching things, but really teaching things that you want to know or want to learn. So if there's, you know, during the week, if there's things that you really want me to cover, I really want to hear from you and, you know, get the feedback of what you know, what you're working on, what you want me to, you know, deep dive onto, because these are really for me to just try to be here to either share something of, you know, that I think is cool or that's interesting or helpful to you, or to just answer your questions, and just hang out. Quite honestly, I want to meet as many of you as possible and get to know you and kind of, you know, build this community together. So yeah, I was kind of just figuring out, you know, what would be a good, you know, topic, or what would be a good thing to talk about. And sometimes with the live stream, it's not necessarily a good topic. If I'm doing a walkthrough, I also want to make it so it's kind of easy for you to follow along. Like some things can get a little complicated, or can be a little bit like, okay, so you're doing you're saying you're doing Adobe After Effects animations. So tonight I was just getting ready to say, I was going to go into Adobe After Effects today. I was working on something that revolved doing text, animating basically text around a path, something very, very simple. And as I was doing this, I thought, that's kind of a toolbox type skill that, is always comes in handy. I know, just there's several different ways to do it. This is not a very good example. I couldn't do this at the last minute. It's not very even spaced out, but not really the point of me trying to make a great, animation for this example, but really for me to just kind of show you a skill for your animation or your After Effects toolbox, which definitely, can come in handy. For me, it's all about just building little steps of things that I can kind of put aside. I forget a lot of things. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly watching and trying to figure out things, and I figure something out. I learn it for a little while, and I forget about it. But I always kind of keep this bank of things that I know how to do, or I know I've seen before. And when it comes time, if I'm working on a project and I need to animate text around a path, I might forget exactly the steps to do it, but I will know, that I know how to do it, or it's something that I've done before, and I can always pull back, and go find something. So to me, it's all about just kind of doing things as you need them, and also just building up a toolkit in your arsenal, basically, in your creative arsenal. So Amir, thank you so much. Saying that you're watching the tutorials, it means the world to me. When people tell me that some of the stuff is helping, honestly, that just makes my day, hearing that. So, and Valerie, if there's something, or whoever's out there, if there's something that you're, again, even if it's not directly related tonight, if there's something that you're really trying to figure out, by all means, leave a comment, and I'll be happy to try to help however I can. Before I jump in, I've done this a few times in the past, but I just thought I would share again. On my website, which is mikemurphy.co, this is kind of my main website, which I'm still working on. Everything I'm working on, nothing's ever done. We all know that. But if you go up here, mikemurphy.co, and I am on the resource page of this website. And the reason I share this is not to promote necessarily affiliate stuff. These are a lot of affiliate links, but really a lot of people ask me, and I'm always curious when I meet a creator or somebody that I'm watching online, what things are they using? What tools are they using? What things do they like? So I try to keep this resource page up to date, and it's always evolving and changing. But these are basically a lot of the things that I use in my day-to-day, for my business, for my creativity, for my just general content creation. So I've got my podcasting, who I'm using for a host, WordPress, the stuff that I use to make tutorials, which, by the way, is Screenflow. You've probably seen my tutorials. Live streaming. Basically, I live in Adobe Creative Cloud. But yeah, so if you want to just kind of check out some of the things I'm using, along with the gear that I use for podcasting, for audio, the photo, video, lighting stuff, and then the kind of general tech and the things that I use around my desk and for computers. And pretty much everything on this page is a lot of the things that I own in life. I keep things pretty minimal, but when I come on this page, I'm always like, God, there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's not that much, actually. You can see how much it is if you... this is what my desk looks like, and it looks kind of complicated. I got a lot of stands. I like to keep things off the desk. And whenever people see my desk, they think there's, they think it's like all sorts of stuff, but it's actually just a lot of... lot of devices keeping things off the desk, or a lot of arms and things like this. So yeah. So if you want to check out I apologize if I cough. I'm trying not to cough. I'm not sure where this came from, but I just went hoarse. So yeah, if you want to check out resources that I use, you can check it out on my website. And at the very bottom and at the very top, there's actually this little button here that says Visit Amazon Shop. You also see it at the very top here. And basically, if you click on that, that'll take you to my page on Amazon. And it's more or less all the audio gear. So you can kind of see how much, pricing and all that stuff. And you can also look at some of my favorite books. So yeah, check that out. And then let's get into tonight. Any questions? Let's see if I... So that is the dream. Yeah, I mean, I've been building like everything. I've been building the gear stuff. I used to have a lot more gear, and then I got rid of a lot of gear. And then I just kind of rebuilt this. I moved this year, and I rebuilt my studio, and just what I really want and what's important to me is I don't want to have to go find stuff, set everything up every time I want to make a tutorial. Basically, when I'm ready to make a tutorial, I just turn on the camera. Everything is always ready to go, like very quickly. So I don't have to think about setting up gear. I don't have to, for me, it's all about the ease of creating, like removing any type of friction when it comes to just getting up and just making things. When I'm ready to make something, I can just literally sit down at my desk and start. So that's important to me, and that's why I kind of created this sort of like, it's kind of like a headquarters, or it's like a command center basically. But yeah, it took time to sort of figure out. I've wasted tons of money and time buying things that I thought was a good solution, and then over the years, if they just stop working, I just will sell them on Facebook Marketplace and replace it with something else. So I feel like I'm pretty happy with my setup now. Yeah, that's that. So let's jump into Adobe After Effects. Let me just see here. I'm working on two different things here. So let me try to get rid of this, and we'll jump into, I don't know why it's not, there we go. It was not allowing me to get into my second screen. So here I am in Adobe After Effects. Oops, we've got a question. Oops. Let's see here. Let me make this a little bit easier to read. I don't know why the comments are... I'm having trouble with the comments blowing up, but... Use a MacBook Pro 2018 or Dell XPS laptop with dual screen at home, same setup at work. That's your question. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get these comments a little bit different, so give me a second here. I want to do a triple monitor setup. My concern is the triple arms. What adapter do I get for the 3 monitors? I have two 27-inch monitors, wanting to put a 32-inch gaming in the middle. Yeah, I would definitely have to, like, off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that. I would definitely have to kind of dig around. I'm using something called I'm using an Ergotron. Ergotron is the brand that I'm using. It felt a little expensive compared to a lot of them. But I also had one years ago that was kind of a more trouble than it was worth. So I ended up, when I got this second one here, I ended up buying a better one, just because I don't like to deal with things that are just more frustrating to use than they actually are helpful. This Ergotron has been great. It's for a single monitor, but I know they make multiple monitor ones. I know that you can do 3 out there. Like there's some that stack on top of each other. That's it's definitely. I am using a monitor that I look at on a stand. Then I have a monitor that I can see my live streams on, and this is kind of just an old monitor. I have that attached to a light stand, and then I have an ergotron that's, you know, I can move it around and all that. I wouldn't say that I know that much about the monitor stands or that I've used too many to give you great advice, but I know you can do a triple setup pretty easily. And then you just want to make sure yeah, I mean, I definitely have seen the 3 for sure. And if you, let me just get one thing right here. I don't know why that I'm losing my mouse for some reason. My mouse is not allowing me to. I need to make a few adjustments here because I am not, you're seeing it over here, but for some reason my mouse is not allowing me to go where I want it to. So give me just a second here. Let me figure this out. Okay, there we go. This right here, this Ergotron is the brand, and I know these get pretty pricey, but I know they have a bunch of things like this, which you would stack up twice. And it'd be pretty good setup. Again, you'll still find many less expensive than this. Yeah, there's some that just have like stacks where you can, basically just like a pole where you can just put multiple monitors, like stack 2, put one off to the side. So you can find them. A lot of these come with like attachment arms for like a single one. So they're definitely out there. You just got to do a little bit of, scrolling through Amazon. I'm sure you know. Nothing you haven't. I feel like I saw a 3.1 recently, but check out if I'm not sure where you are or if it's available, but check out maybe Monoprice. I feel like they're like reasonable and have like tons of different things. I feel like they have Monoprice is always like a again, I don't know if they're international or whatnot, but they definitely, Monoprice is always that place that has everything you need, and they're generally like a lot less expensive than a lot of places. So give that a whirl. So I feel like you'll find something or find a way to do it. So yeah. And then I've got good to see you tonight. Workflow in everything or just in let me see here. I don't know why. I don't know where the comment went, but I'm going to. Yeah, so what workflow in general or just in After Effects or just my day-to-day stuff? Oh, okay. How do I do this up? Okay, there we go. Nice to see you, by the way. How do you decide a topic? Do you then write and record a script, then do animation? Yeah, so I'm overdue for this course, and I'm putting out a class, and I want this class to be super simple and easy and fast. I don't want it to be like every other class that you've seen out there where it takes you 5 hours to finish a class. I'm working on this class. It's going to be fairly quick, and it's going to be quick, and then it's going to show you exactly what I do. I've been trying to figure out this way to put it together, and I'm very close to kind of wrapping everything or to making everything sort of coherent, I should say. It's been a long time coming, because a lot of people ask me, like, or I want a way to just basically tell people how to use Screenflow in the shortest amount of time possible. Only because I know people are so busy, and the idea of taking a long class people just don't have that in them anymore, including myself. So I'm putting together this class where I'm really going to share my exact workflow of Screenflow, and which is going to go more than just Screenflow. I mean, it's only going to be about Screenflow in this class, but I think if you see my workflow, it's going to be really it carries over into other things I do, my style. But I'm going to focus on Screenflow because that's what I get the most questions about. And I thought the easiest way that I would be able to teach it is to really just say, here is exactly what I do from start to finish. And then I thought I would maybe put, in the bottom or after the class, I'll just include a whole bunch of just tips and just rapid fire tips. And so in that process, you will sort of learn what I'm going to do. And in the short thing, in the preview as of tonight, I keep an ongoing list. In things 3 is my to-do list type thing, but I keep this ongoing list by topic. If something pops in my head, if I'm watching something or an idea sparks, I literally just pick up, or I just will type in After Effects, text around a path or something. Like if I'm working on something and I think it's helpful, or if I think it's going to make like a useful tutorial, I just put it on the list, and then this bank keeps growing. The second thing I do not, or your second question, I do not write a script. I do with my podcasts and I do with other things, but with my tutorials, I typically make tutorials on things that I really know or that I know what they are. And so I sort of write the script as I'm creating the tutorial. Like it's sort of this process that I've just built over time. It's very specific to my style, but I write the script as I'm recording and making the video. And my whole thing, as you mentioned, I really try to, I will put that list in. When I make a tutorial, I have a very specific, thought process behind it. One, it has to be succinct and short, but it has to be like a starting point and an end point to where I know that everything in that video is going to be actually help, or it's going to be a start to finish type thing, where it's not like leaving you hanging. Some things I start making the tutorial and I'll just say, this is too confusing, this is too long of a tutorial, and I will just scrap it. Or if it just doesn't feel like it's going to translate, I'll scrap it and I'll move on. But for the most part, I know what I want to teach, and I start recording, and I just start writing the script, and I'm kind of editing as I write. And when I'm done with the video, it's kind of in finished form, and I go back, and then I go into Screenflow and I, do a full edit. Hold on one second. Sorry, I keep I don't know where this hoarseness came from, but yeah, so when I'm ready to make the tutorial, in my head I know exactly what the tutorial is going to cover, but as I'm making the tutorial, sometimes something jumps out, or sometimes it's like a little gotcha where I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I include that. And if it's something that I know that I'm not going to get back to, like let's say I come up with an idea and I know that I'm not going to get back to it, or not going to make it for like days or weeks or whatever, I will, in my to-do list, which I'll show you in just a second, I will put notes, or if I come up with a tutorial idea and I know exactly what I want to cover in it, I know tomorrow I'm going to forget. So I will literally just start writing, like, I wouldn't call it an outline, but I'll say, do this as the example, you know, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And if I got the, if I got the tutorial idea by watching something else, and typically the way I get tutorial ideas from other like tutorials or classes or things that I've seen, it's generally I'll be watching something for something totally different, and there might be a step in their video that I'm like, oh, that was really interesting or useful or helpful, and I will just take that tiny little thing and figure out, like, knowing that it's something that I can apply to my own type of work, and then that little step will become the tutorial for me. So let me jump into, let me just show you. Yeah, I don't know if there's a, let me do this. So the to-do list that I use is things 3. Oops, let me get rid of your comment there. So this is things 3. I'm probably gonna say that it's Mac only. But it's really a great to-do list. I'm a wannabe organized productivity on top of things person, but honestly I have a hard time writing things down and keeping a really accurate to-do list. But things 3 has been it's been with me for one of the longer periods, because I do like it. And the other thing I use in conjunction with things 3, probably even more, is Apple Notes. Apple Notes is honestly the thing that if I'm on the go, it's the thing that I use the most for just capturing notes. But things 3 is the cleanest, best, like it's a beautiful app. I love everything about this. And if you watch their I don't know why I'm not getting any audio, or I'm not getting any visual. Their animation, their video is incredible. And it kind of makes their app, I don't know why it's not playing well. I'm getting like, I don't know why it's not playing very well, but it's a great app. But yeah, I just basically, I have a project for tutorials, and I just put tons of stuff in, and then if I'm kind of running out of, if I just need to make a tutorial, I just look at the list and I just pick one. So, alrighty. So now that the live stream's over, let's see if I can remember what I was going to do tonight. Oh, I've still got your comment on there. Yeah, back to the things 3 animation. It's so beautiful, the animation. It really is like, you can, as soon as I watched their video before I bought the app years ago, I just said, if they use this, if they're this good, I know the company was good. All right. Hey Jack, I was trying to figure out. I remember you. I couldn't remember your first name, but I couldn't remember it. Thanks for reminding me. So yeah. So well, you can already see it actually, right? You can see it behind me. I forgot. That's how slow I am tonight. Yeah. So all behind me is it's basic. I actually got them from a place called I can't remember what it was called. Sound foam. I can't remember what it's called. I think I have it on my resource page. Maybe not. I thought I did. Thanks for the reminder. Foam Factory. I think I got these originally from a place called Foam Factory, which looks super outdated. I feel like this is not it. This is not it. I don't remember what it's called. Foam. Maybe it was. Yeah, it was called thefoamfactory.com, which is a super old, outdated website. I got, these are 2-inch. I got 2-inch and then I believe the 24 by 48 by 2-inch. $67. And yeah, so they're long, and so it just depends on what you are. I think it was the 20. I think I got the 24 by maybe 48 by 7. No, 24 by 48. I think. Maybe, I don't know. But then I moved into a new place, and I basically used these. I mean, they really should be in front of you for the most part, but I do have some on the side, and I have rug, and I have window coverings. I have a couch right there. I have a chair in front of me. So I have a lot of things in this place where I'm in now that's much better sound absorption. I lived in a cottage for about 11 years, which was hardwood floors, all windows. It was the worst audio or echo. So that's why I got these, and I put those on the ceiling, and I really had to do a lot of work to keep my audio. And I was podcasting a lot in the other place. Now that I'm in this great place, I am not podcasting as much yet. But yeah, so now the audio foam, it's helping, but it's actually more probably like a backdrop, honestly. But they are good. And I went and bought panels from Amazon, and they were like more in squares, and they were not as good of quality as these ones that I originally got from the Foam Factory, but they worked. I mean, they're fine. Let me see if I can find the other ones. I feel like I okay, let me do one last thing here. Yeah, so these, I basically, the ones behind me, they were old and some of them were kind of getting run down. So I bought a replacement, and what I was really trying to do was find the exact wedge type thing so I could blend them in with the ones that I currently had. So the original ones that I had were longer and bigger, so I didn't need as many. But these ones came in a 12 pack. They're $25 for a pack, and honestly, they're great quality. And they're nice and thick, and they were great. I bought another pair that were like super compressed, so when you got them, you were supposed to like soak them in water, and it was nonsense. I sent them back because they didn't expand the way they were supposed to. So I got these instead, and yeah, they were these work, or they're good quality, and don't know if I can show you. I think these right here are all those ones, and they blend in with these ones were the original, and so I really was just making sure that the shape was they matched up so it didn't look obvious. Yeah, I can't really show you much better, but let me see if that'll do it. Yeah, that's not going to help any. But anyways, AC noise. Yes, Florida. We don't go any part of the year without AC running. And my previous, well, for one, AC, the Shure SM7B, that's the number one combatant of noise. This microphone is incredible. It's for blocking external noise. This is so good. And its little brother, the Shure SM58, also does a great job of blocking noise. But when I really need to make something really sound good, I'll put maybe a little bit extra effort into kind of, putting, pillow or something in front of me. But this is great. That does help. The rugs, everything helps. And my AC in this new place is, I can hear it, but it's not nearly as loud. I used to have like a window, unit where it's just literally every time I hit record, I swear the thing turned on, and it drove me crazy. It was right behind me. But yeah, you gotta just, you pretty much have to, yeah, my AC is on right now. And my old place though, where I had the window unit like pretty much in the right behind me, I had to turn it off when I was doing something that was really required silence, and I would be just dying of heat. I mean, I was sweating, and I can handle the heat pretty well because I've lived in Florida for a while, but you can't go long, especially when you have adrenaline for being live or doing a podcast. You've got energy moving, so you're getting hot. I would be hot while I was on camera, and I was always trying to like manage it. Or I just said, I can't take it. You're going to have to deal with the noise. And honestly, this does such a good job that it really, sorry, this is the thing that's killing me tonight. My throat's super hoarse. But yeah, it's, I have a refrigerator pretty close that's making noise. I have my air conditioner, the big unit's right in this, like literally like right there, in a closet with the hot water heater, and yeah, it's pretty quiet. So, well, I'm loving all the Q&A. I could do Q&A all night long, but for those who I said I would do a little example here, what I thought I would do tonight is do something, just show you how to do text on a path, which is super simple. It's going to take no time at all. And then this was the other example I did in like very quickly. Not anything fancy, but really just I was doing something that required to do text around a circle. And as a longtime user of Photoshop, I can tell you that text around a circle when I first did Photoshop was like a mystery. It was literally like, you know, what is this? How do you do it? It was just such a good thing. You are welcome, Jack. Thanks for stopping by. And anything ever pops up, you don't have to wait for the live stream. Just shoot me a message or a comment, and I'll be happy to answer. But yeah, so let's just do a quick little how to do text around a path. And again, it's one of those things for your tool belt. It's definitely worthwhile thing to know how to do, and it's incredibly simple to do in After Effects. And you know, some of the I'm seeing a big delay, I think, from what you're seeing, and the timing's probably off a little bit, but this square one's really ugly to me. So we'll focus on this little circle one here, which I think is a little bit nicer. So no null object. My gosh, you go live and your voice just Murphy's Law. I am not using a null object, but you can. You know, if you use Photoshop or animation or After Effects, anything, you know that there's a million different ways to do the same thing. Tomorrow I might decide that a null object is better, but literally this was something that I was I was really just trying to figure out something that good. Yeah, null objects I think are great, and they definitely have their place. In fact, I just learned a pretty good well, there's many good reasons to use a null, and for anybody who's out there, I'm a learner as well. So if something I'm doing, if there's a better way, by all means share things, because I'm learning things as well. I would love to be a really great animator someday, or it's just something that I love, but I feel like I still have a long way to go. So, you know, I learn things, I do things certain ways, or you learn things, a technique, then you see somewhere else that you're like, oh, this is even better. That makes my day. And those are the kind of tutorials that I make. Quite honestly, when I learn something myself while I'm doing something, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It usually becomes a tutorial. That's how I'm typically inspired, is by me just doing things, or and when I figure out a cool little thing or something I didn't know, tutorial is made. The less lines in your After Effects, the better. Yeah, for sure. Less is always more, in my opinion. So first thing I do is, with everything, is basically create a new composition, which you can get to in the top menu, new composition, but you should learn the keyboard shortcut Command N, because that's a must-know keyboard shortcut. I'll make this one a square, 1080 by 1080 pixels. I'll keep 30 frame rate. Sometimes I do 24. I'm a stop motion guy, but I tend to do a lot of things in using like posterized time. 10 seconds in duration. One thing that I learned a long time ago, and it's probably one of the best things that I ever learned, because when you get into these, when you get into the duration, you know, it gets a little confusing. Hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Sometimes you get these turned around. One of the best tricks that I ever learned was, if you just put in the number of seconds with a comma, that's the number of seconds. So it's a very simple thing, and many people probably know it. But so if I want a 5-second composition, rather than having to go in here and am I in the seconds, just highlight everything, 5, comma. If you hit tab, you can see here that's 5 seconds. If I want, 120 seconds, 120, comma, hit tab, and there you'll have a 2-minute composition, which is very long. So 10, comma, hit tab. Now you've got a 10-second composition. Very simple little, it's just a very simple little thing, but the duration is, or the time code, I would say, throws a lot of people off. And if you are new to After Effects, the background color, I usually use blue, which is one of my brand colors. But this this background color in your composition means nothing. It's really just a placeholder. It's just a visual for you to help you when you're designing, and this background color does not get rendered, or when you export your After Effects project, you will not see this color. So this color is really just a visual color to help you, it's a background color. So I put the blue because I like the blue. So this is my, let me just make sure that I'm moving you here. So this is my composition right now, which is just a square, 1080 by 1080. And here's my entire kind of zoomed out thing. This is the workspace that I use. It's a custom workspace, but it's pretty much like the essentials. I probably started off with the default and then just kind of customize it a little bit. I like to have my Adobe Creative Cloud library so I can drag assets on. I use the effects and presets panel a lot to find effects. I like the align panel, and I like the text a lot. So if you know that you want a background color, so this is blue, but if you know that you want to also render out the blue, like meaning you want that background to be part of your composition, then you do always, you want to create a solid. It's really one of the best ways. You could do a shape, but creating a new solid layer, I just right-clicked right here and hit New Solid. So this color right here, if you choose a color, is actually going to be in your video that you export out. If you don't want any background, if you want to do a transparent export, you can keep just the way you had it in the composition. And there's a little button right here. I didn't know this was going to be a full After Effects tutorial. I'll keep moving along so I don't do every single thing, but I like to explain things as they're kind of helpful. But there's a little button right here. If you look here, it looks like a little grid, and that's the transparency grid. If you were to ever click this button and you see the grid, that means that you have no background. So there is no background layer, and in this case we just have our composition. So that's just always a good test if you're ever confused, or if you're like, do I have an can I export this with no background? If you check this button, if you saw a background color, so if I added a background solid, and now when I check the button, you see I don't get that grid anymore because I have a solid background. If I didn't have the solid and I check the background, then I have the grid. Okay. All good things. All good things to know. And if anything comes up, or if there's something that you're like, will you show me how to do that one thing, or that I never know how to do that? Because After Effects, I know when I first started learning After Effects, I feel like if you screwed up your workspace, or if you did something, you could never figure out how to get back to it, or just you can really get yourself turned around when you're first learning. So if there's something that really drives you crazy that you don't know how you did it, or you don't know where it is, leave a question. I'll be happy to, if I know the answer, I'll be happy to tell you. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my Adobe Creative Cloud library. If you're not using the Adobe Creative Cloud libraries, I highly recommend it. I keep all my logos and just stuff that I'm using over in there. So any program that I'm using, Photoshop, After Effects, all I have to do is just drag it on there. I don't have to look for my colors. They're all there. Anytime I put something onto my composition, I always go to the Align panel and I just make sure that I center it in the center. Obviously, if you didn't want your thing centered, you wouldn't, but it's a good habit to get into. So I always have the Align panel open, and yeah. So I have got this logo here, and I want to just put my name around this logo. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to create text around a path, basically. So what I'm going to do is select, well, let me restart. What I'm going to do is first create a text layer, and then we're going to create a path that we're going to use to basically create a circle around this little logo. Okay, so I'm going to right click and click on New Text. You can also come up to the top menu here and just click on the T for text. You see there's a horizontal text tool, and now I've got my cursor turned into the text layer. I might have just gone horizontal. I meant to hit, let me just, there we go. I had vertical selected. We don't want vertical, so I'm just going to type out my name, Mike. Let me do Murphyco. A little big, can't see it, so we're going to come down here. I'm going to try, let's try 100, see what that goes. Okay. Let me just zoom in here so you can see. So if you're wondering, because I'm a font person, the font that I'm using is called Landrina Solid. It's this kind of hand-drawn font that I like. And I'm at 100 pixels. And my composition, oh, I put you up on the board. My composition size is, I'm really getting confused with my layout, is 1080 by 1080. So I have a 100 pixel font, which, you know, I might change. I'm not sure. We shall see. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I'm going on. This is the hardest part about live streaming is I want to make sure that you can see it. So, okay, so I have a text layer, I have a logo layer, I have a text layer, and then I have a background layer, which doesn't really matter at this point. Now what I want to do is we want to create the circle around the text, okay? Let me just see what this size was, because that seemed to work pretty good. Oh, that was 100 as well. That was a good guess on my part. I was really just eyeballing it, but it turned out to be the same. So, so what I will do is I'll select that text layer. Then I'm going to come up here to the Shape tool, and I'm going to choose the Ellipse tool, okay? And you can see here, you see my cursor has that little circle. That means that we're just going to be creating, it's like ready for me to create the path, okay? I'm just going to start right in the middle. And you see here it's gone weird. If you press the Shift key, it's going to make a perfect circle. So I have the Command key, the Option key, and the Shift key. A lot of keys you got to do to make the perfect circle. And I'm just going to make it kind of roughly the way I want it. We can change this later. But I'm going to put that path around there, okay? I'm going to come down here. Let me make sure that, I want to make sure you can see it. So let me, we're going to come down here. I'm going to twirl open text. I'm going to twirl open path. And I'm going to click on this little drop down here. So we're under the text. We're going to click on this little drop down here. I'm going to choose mask. Now you can't see anything because I'm zoomed way in. But if I go in now, you'll see here that the text, as soon as I clicked on the mask one, so basically what I did was created the text layer, I created a path, or a mask basically, and then it's kind of a twofold thing. It's a path, but we also created a mask where we chose the mask. The mask was automatically created. Let's just put it that way. Okay, no problem. I will be here, maybe, probably. If not, have a good one. But yeah, I plan on. We'll see. But have a great stand up. If I don't see you, thanks for coming, and we'll see you in the next one. So I've got this text on a path right now. I'm going to go back down to the layers. Let me zoom in a little bit. I want you to kind of see both, but I want to make sure that you don't miss the kind of key steps here. Okay, yeah, that'll work. I think. I can even make this. I think I just totally screwed something up. Let me go here, redo. Okay, so I created the path using the Ellipse Tool. So we're gonna you can just ignore the logo. We're just looking at this path here. I would open up the text layer, went to the path, and here I chose the mask that we created, okay? So you see here, this is where we started, and as soon as I chose that mask one, now the text is gonna follow the path. And that's gonna work anytime you can create a shape with the pen tool, you can create it with, another ellipse. I could have done it on a star, a triangle, it doesn't matter. It's gonna automatically the text is going to automatically go right on that path. And you're looking at it saying, well, you can't even read it. It's backwards. We're going to come right here. You see here it says reverse path. If I click on that, you see here that it just flipped it. Here's the before, here was the after, and then there's right here this first margin. So when I click on this, watch what happens. Now I can decide where I want this to start. I can do this anywhere. There's also a little bar up here that you can move, but it's a lot easier, I think, doing it like this. So now we've got the text. Let's say that I want it to start here, or if I want to paste, you see here we have, looks like 3 circles here, or 3 copies of the text. So I can just basically go to the text. So if you click on the text tool, and highlight it. I'm just going to hit Command C. Oop. 1, 2, 3. I'll give it a little bit of space. I'm just hitting the space bar. Let me do this. Let me back up a little bit. Do 1, 2, 3. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you really wanted to if this was like a client job for something, you really want to make sure that you had the math that was perfectly spaced, but this is just an example, so we're not worried about that. So now we have this text, and when I click off of it, now you can see that the text is perfectly around the circle. Pretty cool. And you can really, you can change lots of different things about this. You can force alignment, and what the force alignment is going to do is basically make everything fit. It doesn't really work or matter in this example. It works sometimes in a square, other things. But you can use these first and last margins, and you see as I turn these, it's basically going to be where do you want, the first margin is basically where do you want this to start. And so if you were animating it, and maybe you didn't want the animation to start, and you wanted this to be kind of a visual element on your, in your composition, then, maybe you'd want it to be so people could see it. If you select the path, you can, there's, ooh. So what I did was just selected the pen tool, and I just clicked on this path, and now I can really just I can fully customize this however I want. If you were doing some more complex path and you wanted to add, reshape the size, you can fully customize. I mean, After Effects is endlessly customization. But yeah, you can change the path, you can resize it, you can make it smaller, bigger. So you're not locked in when you first do it. And this is not perfect by any means. I mean, my whole point tonight really was not to make a perfect, a work of art necessarily, but really just something that will show you, see what I just did. I just clicked there. And if I hold the Option Shift, just like we did, I can make this path bigger. I can make it closer. Maybe I wanted it right on the logo. That's not going to work, but you would just redo things however you want it. The customization is endless. And if we want to animate this, so if we want to, make this basically move around the circle. So you can see here I have this example where I have it moving around the circle. Oops. Let me just make that a little clearer. So I have it moving around the circle. If you want to do that, sometimes, there's often many different ways that you can do something in After Effects or make things move. But a lot of times what you do, basically anytime you see a keyframe, so anytime that not a keyframe, anytime you see a stopwatch next to a property, so you see here, all these right here, if you see a stopwatch next to a property, that means that you can animate that property. So as I move this, let's see here, you see this is the first margin. When I move this, I'll zoom back out in a minute so you can see, but as I move this, it's moving that text. So since it has a stopwatch, let's animate that property and it will rotate the text, okay? I'm sure if you know After Effects, you'll know this is, pretty basic stuff, but if you don't, then this is all stuff that not only is it going to apply to this example, which I'm looking at it, the spacing is terrible on this, so I do apologize. It's definitely, as somebody who, yeah, I wouldn't let this one go for sure. The spacing looks terrible to me, but the purpose of this tutorial is to show you how to create text on a path. Which we did. Now let's just animate this. What I'm going to do is just click on the stopwatch for first. I'll drag the playhead first. And I'm going to click on the stopwatch for first margin, and that is going to create a keyframe. If you don't see the keyframe, there's the keyframe that just created right here. Oops. And that was for the first margin. All I did was just click on this little stopwatch. Oops, did I move it? I might have moved it. I clicked on the stopwatch and that created a keyframe, okay? Now we're going to move the playhead down in time, so we're just going to move it forward in time. Let's just say, I have no idea what's going to look good, but we'll go down, let's say, to the 7-second mark, okay? So let me zoom out a little bit so you can see where I'm at here. I'm right in the way. But yeah, so I just moved it down here to the 7-second mark. So I have the first keyframe right here. And now the second keyframe, we're just going to move this. So I have this right here. I'm just going to eyeball this. Again, you can do math. I probably would take a little more time if I was really trying to build something special. But basically I just did a full 360. And when you add one keyframe and then you move the playhead to another position and you make changes in your, on your timeline, or if you move a property, once you're done, After Effects is automatically going to create that second keyframe. If you look under the playhead, you'll see that second keyframe was created. If I drag the playhead back in time, you're going to see the move. I'll hit the space bar to preview. And now we have ourselves a rotating around the circle text. And this text is on a path, so it's pretty cool. And if you want to slow down the animation, you would just space these further apart. So if I wanted to go really slow, I could paste it to the end of the composition. You see that it basically is slowing down. Looking a little choppy on the live stream, so what I'm looking at isn't so choppy, but it looks to be like it is a little choppy. And then if I move them really close together, you're going to see here that's going to go super fast, and then it stops. And you're like, well, what do I do then? Well, you could copy them. Command C, Command V, and just go down the timeline. You would definitely, that was very sloppy. You would have spaced those out because it's going to look weird. But it's kind of choppy when you do that because you really need the time perfect. And I'm also looking at this animation. The circle looks a little lopsided. I'm going to undo that. The first thing I'm going to do, though, before I even move these, I'm going to move this key. Oops. I'm going to move the second keyframe down a little bit. I'll move it back to that 7 mark. That's a little bit better. I'm going to select the keyframes by just clicking on the property. I'm going to tap on F9. That's going to ease the keyframes. It's just going to make them a little bit smoother, make the motion a little bit smoother. And if I wanted to loop this, you see here when it gets past the second keyframe, the animation stops. If I wanted to loop this, I'm going to press the Option key, that's Alt on Windows, and just click on the stopwatch. Let me try to zoom in here so you can see what I'm typing in here. Hopefully I don't screw this up too bad. So I'm just going to type out a really simple expression, one that you must know. LOOP, that's a lowercase l, and then I'm going to do a capital O-U-T. And open and close parentheses. You don't have to put anything in the middle. And if I zoom back out, hit the space bar, preview, you're going to see that it's going to go, watch when it gets the second keyframe down here. It's acting very strange. That's just the live stream making it choppy for some reason. But basically by doing that expression, it's just looping over and over again. So that is how to do text on a path. I did the same thing here. In this case, the difference that I did in this case was, let me just show you how to make it instead of starting from scratch. I added the logo. I actually added a shape layer. So this is just a shape by coming up here to the rectangle tool. I think I did a round rectangle actually. And I just drew out a shape and put the text around it. So this shape is kind of on its own, which I could animate on its own. And then I created the text layer. So if I solo the text layer here, that is just one layer here, or one layer of text. You see that path, that blue line that you see here is the actual path that I did, just like we did around the circle. I created the text. Once I created the text, I selected the text layer, and I came up here to the oops, you're not seeing it. I'm going to apologize for that. I came up here to the shape tool, and I chose the rectangle. I drew out a rectangle, and then I came down into the layers. I opened up the text, so I just twirled open the text, twirled open the path options, and I clicked on this drop down, and I selected mask 1. That's the rectangle that I drew. If I click none, you can see here that basically it's off the path. When I come down here and select mask 1, you see it goes around the path. It's just a really good, again, there are different ways to do different things, but let me just do kind of a recap quick thing here that I think will bring it all home. At least that's my goal. And again, if you're not sure, I have a tutorial about this, how to do text on a path. There's a million tutorials about it. It's not difficult, and you can get super customized. Like, you can do a lot of cool things with it. But let's just say that I want to create a new text here. So I'm going to come up here. I'll just right click and choose new text. I'll type out my name. Okay. Let's just say that I want this. I'm going to move this down here. I'm going to move it off the screen. You'll see why in a second. I'm going to come up here. So I have my text layer selected in the Layers panel. Here, I'll even zoom out a little bit more. I have my text layer selected. I'm going to come up here and grab the pen tool. Okay? That's the first one, keyboard shortcut G. And I'm just going to draw a random shape. Kind of crazy. Not crazy, but just random. It could be anything. You could do a shape with the pen tool. You can, again, choose any shape you want. I'm going to come down here into the Layers panel. Nope, it's not allowing me to do it. Let me zoom in here. Okay, I'm going to come down here and twirl open the shape layer, or the text layer. I'm going to twirl open text. I'm going to twirl open path. No, I'm doing it blindly. Twirl open path. Under path, I'm going to click that and choose mask 1. That is the thing that we just drew with the pen tool. And when I do that, I'll zoom back out. Actually, let me see if I can do it like this. No, I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit for you so you can see. So just like that, if I go to this first margin down here and drag it, it's going to show the path, but the text is following that path that we just created, a random shape. Any shape that you drew is going to follow that path. Pretty cool. I could click on the reverse path, and that'll basically flip it. So let's say that I want it to go like on the back end. I don't know why you would do that, but you could do that. I'll keep that at 0. Let's do this. The perpendicular path is kind of going to do something weird. We don't want the perpendicular path. With everything in After Effects, honestly, you have to experiment too and just figure out new ways you can, you know, discover how things work. But you probably would want it like this, or at least I would. But if you were to animate this, so let's say I'm going to animate the first margin again by just dragging my playhead at the beginning. I'm going to click on the stopwatch for first margin. I'm going to drag it out down the timeline. So I drag the playhead down the timeline down here. And I'm just going to move the position. We're going to move the text. All I'm doing is just increasing that first margin value down here. After Effects created a second keyframe. I'm going to select both keyframes, tap on F9 to easy ease the keyframe, make it a little smoother. Hit the spacebar. The path goes away, but you're going to see the text follows the path. Now, if you use your imagination, you could see probably how, and you could actually loop this so you could have it go over and over again. Or if you want to slow it down, you know, just space out the keyframes. Obviously, this may not be the look that you're going for, but you can see the power of doing something like this, where you can literally create any shape path that you want and just have text follow it. You could have multiple text, you know, you could copy this and let's just do this on the fly, but you could do, you know, you could duplicate this, Command D to duplicate, create a second layer. I don't know. Let's see what happens if I do. Oops. Let's see what happens. I'll move the. I don't know. Let's see what happens if I do. Actually, let me do it in the middle. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just making this stuff up as I go. What do I know? I'm hitting the space bar. So you could have things moving all over your screen. Who knows? Duplicate these as many as you want. Have some fun with it. Oops. Let me do this. You obviously would. You can do many different things with this, but that is how to create text on a path. Have fun with it. Use your imagination and figure out ways to make things move all over the screen. You could do these with emojis. You know, you don't have to. You don't actually have to use text. You could change the font into. Now I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, which often doesn't work when I do stuff like that. So probably won't work, but we'll see. Yeah, that's probably not going to work on this, but let's just skip that. But you can do all sorts of things with this, and then put some, put something behind it. You can export it as a transparent GIF, and you can have some fun with it. And I don't know where. I hope I can get out of here. Bear with me for a second. This could be interesting. Hold on one second here. For whatever reason, I lost my screen, but we're going to try to find it. In the meanwhile, enjoy that endlessly looping. There we go. So sorry about that. Yeah, so that is how to do text around a path. Basically, create a text layer, draw out a path, whether you're using the shape tool or the pen tool. Go down into your text, choose the mask that you just created using the pen tool or the shape tool, and it will take shape to that path. It will follow the path wherever you want, and then you can use all of the text characteristics. So if you want to, if you are, let's see if I have a quick one here. If you were to, if you change all these parameters here in the text, if you change the tracking, the size, the font, all of that stuff is going to, all that stuff is going to work, So if you wanted this a lot bigger, all this stuff is going to work just like text. It's still live text, and, who knows? If you put some thought to it, you could actually probably create some cool, visual elements to your design. You can put these all in different, again, I'm just fully just trying to think of things that might, spark ideas in you. This is by no means anything, but you can change the, the animation, the speeds. You can go some fast, some slow, change the positions in the screen, and yeah. So I'm losing my voice officially. I hope tonight was somewhat helpful. I know in the beginning we did a lot of Q&A, which is awesome. I'm always up for that. I could do entire hours of just Q&A. I would love that to be the case. If people really wanted a Q&A session, that's a dream come true for me, because I love people who I love helping people out who have questions, and I literally it's why I make tutorials. I love when people a breakthrough with something that they're working on, and if I'm able to help them get to another place or solve a problem for them, I love that. So I really thank you all who joined me live tonight. Much appreciated. Those that are watching me on the replay, hopefully you took something out of it, or got something about this text on the path. I do have a tutorial about it. Just do a search on my channel, or do text on a path, Mike Murphy. It'll pull up for sure. Yeah, I have a tutorial coming out tomorrow on, I don't know, After Effects something. And yeah, I will be back next Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I thank you all for joining me each and every week. I thank you for coming by my YouTube channel and supporting the channel at Mike Murphy CO, tutorials for content creators. That's what I do. That's my Pod Faded podcast, which will come back eventually. But yeah, thank you everybody. Hope you all have a fantastic week, productive week, and I will see you next Monday. Peace.